The first blow. The galaxy's balance cracked on a night of fire. The Veil Dominion, swollen with arrogance and pride, had grown tired of Earth's rising influence. For centuries, they had ruled the Orion Spur through intimidation, piracy, and brute force. But the emergence of human colonies, industrious, disciplined, unafraid, threatened their dominion. So in a spectacle of cruelty, the Veil struck. A human envoy ship, unarmed, carrying diplomats and scientists, was seized and executed live across the galactic comnet. Thousands watched as the Veil warlord mocked humanity's fragile bodies and fragile pride. Then, to drive the point deeper, they unleashed their armada. 800 warships, a wall of steel and fire, fell upon New Carthage, a thriving human colony of nearly 2 million. The bombardment was surgical and merciless. Cities evaporated under plasma storms. Oceans boiled. The survivors were herded into orbit, paraded as spoils of conquest. The message was simple: Earth is nothing. Humanity bows or humanity burns. And the galaxy, long accustomed to Veil dominance, laughed with them. Arrogance in the stars. The victory was broadcast for cycles. In smoky war councils and glittering courts, the Veil basked in triumph. They drank to the humiliation of humans, speaking of Earth as though it were already ashes. "The humans will fold," said one admiral. "They cannot match an empire that spans 20 sectors." Others sneered at humanity's patience, mistaking restraint for weakness. Earth hides behind words and treaties. Their fleets are small, their courage smaller. In the taverns of distant stations, alien mercenaries jeered at human merchants. "Where is your fleet now? Where are your protectors?" But arrogance blinds. None saw the silence forming across Earth's networks. No words of surrender, no calls for truce, only silence. Cold, calculated waiting. The galaxy mistook it for fear. But the silence was something else entirely. It was humanity holding its breath. The silence breaks. It began with a whisper, a calm channel crackling to life. A single, chilling broadcast repeated in every tongue of the known galaxy. "This is Earth. Stand down or be broken." The message came not from diplomats, but from Fleet Command. Then the silence shattered. The void filled with movement. Dockyards in Luna, Titan, and Mars igniting with light as ships launched in disciplined waves. Jupiter's hidden shipyards unveiled their dreadnoughts, massive leviathans that had never before left orbit. From Earth's cradle itself, a fleet arose, sleek, angular vessels, their hulls etched with the scars of countless simulations and hidden wars. And at their head was a single ship, the ISS Revenant. Her captain, Elias Ward, was no stranger to war. He had fought pirates, border skirmishes, and insurgencies. But what rose before him now was not a mere battle. It was an ocean of fire. 800 Veil warships, positioned like hunters around New Carthage's ruins. Every officer on the Revenant knew the odds. 800 against 1. Suicide by any measure. And yet Captain Ward simply said, "Then let's remind them who we are." The gathering storm. The Revenant surged forward alone. Alien admirals mocked the audacity. "A single ship, Earth sends a relic to die before us." Laughter roared through their command decks. But the laughter died when the Revenant's weapons ignited. She fired not blindly, but with surgical fury. Rail cannons that tore through shields like paper, plasma lances that split cruisers apart. Entire squadrons vanished in the opening volley. More shocking was her resilience. Every shot absorbed, every barrage redirected. The Revenant's armor gleamed with experimental alloys unknown to the Veil. Each hit only revealed more of her terrible design. Behind her, the darkness rippled. Human fleets translated into the system one after another, forming phalanxes of steel. What the galaxy thought were patrol craft and defense ships revealed themselves as dreadnoughts and carriers, hidden for decades, perfected in silence. The Veil admirals realized too late, humanity had not been idle. Humanity had been preparing. The human response. The battle became a storm. Human fleets moved not with chaos but with terrifying precision. Formations shifted like blades cutting through flesh. Where the Veil expected brawls, they found coordinated annihilation. Communications filled with chilling clarity. Target locked. Eradicate Sector 7. No prisoners, no retreats. This is Earth's vengeance. Execute fire pattern Delta. Veil warships began to crumble. Dozens burned, then hundreds. Their admiralty shrieked in disbelief. This was not possible. No species should fight with such cold perfection. And then came the Revenant's maneuver, the one that broke their will. Facing a wall of 300 warships, Ward charged directly into their formation. The aliens expected desperation, a final act of madness. But what followed was calculated terror. The Revenant's gravity well projectors destabilized the fleet's positions, tearing vessels into each other, collapsing their lines. In the span of minutes, 300 became wreckage. The turning of the tide. The remaining Veil forces faltered. 800 warships, now cut nearly in half, found themselves scattered and broken. Yet Captain Ward gave no mercy. "Drive them into the dark," he ordered. Human ships advanced like executioners, their weapons unrelenting. Alien crews begged for surrender, but the response was silence. The kind of silence that weighs heavier than words. Whole sectors of the Veil fleet tried to regroup. They were met with annihilation strikes, orbital bombardments that erased them from the stars. Others attempted retreat, only to find Earth's destroyers already waiting at their exit vectors. The galaxy, watching through 1,000 hidden feeds, felt the shift. The Veil, once feared across 20 sectors, were being slaughtered before their eyes. By humans, by the species they mocked as fragile, weak, and cowardly. The breaking point. And then it happened. The Great Veil Armada, once the terror of the Orion Spur, fled. Warships abandoned formations. Captains screamed for hyperspace escape. Admirals discarded pride, abandoning their dead in the void. 800 had come to break humanity. Barely 200 limped away, scarred and broken, trailing wreckage behind them. And leading the charge that drove them into retreat, a single human captain in a single ship, standing unyielding in the storm. The Revenant, her hull scarred but unbroken, floated among the wreckage like an avenging ghost. The Veil would never forget her silhouette. Aftermath, the whispered fear. When the guns fell silent, only whispers remained. Across the galaxy, stations fell quiet. Markets froze. Couriers carried only one tale. Earth stood against 800 warships and made them flee. No one laughed at humanity anymore. On backwater colonies, alien children asked in hushed tones, "What happens if we anger the humans?" Merchants, once smug, now traded with trembling hands. And in the war councils of empires, leaders sat in uneasy silence, replaying the footage of the Revenant cutting through fleets like a blade through smoke. The lesson was carved into the stars. Humanity's patience is vast, but their vengeance is infinite. And in the darkness of their exile, the surviving Veil whispered a vow never to speak Earth's name aloud again, for fear the humans might hear.